for finals here. Use the information provided to write a standard form equation of each parabola. Standard form is that y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, and so in order to get into this form, you've got to get rid of all parentheses. We don't see any parentheses up here, so let's just practice with 22. So y equals 20. Now when we see this squared, that means take what's underneath it, this whole thing, and write it twice, and then we got to FOIL that. All right, and so here we get 20 times x squared minus 5x minus 5x plus 25 minus 4. 20 times x squared minus 10x plus 25 minus 4. Now distribute in the 20. Y equals 20x squared minus 200x plus 500 minus 4. Final answer, y equals 20x squared minus 200x plus 496. All right, there you go. All the parentheses are gone. This is similar. Just FOIL that. In problem 24, if we want to avoid this fraction, we can multiply everything by 2 after first dealing with this. If we FOIL this, we're going to get an x squared plus 12x plus 36. That comes from the 6x plus 6x. That's where we get that 12x. Negative 1/2 y plus 7. So to get rid of this negative 1/2, just multiply everything by negative 2. And so that's going to look like y plus 7 equals negative 2x squared minus 24x minus 72. Just take the 7 away. We get final answer y equals negative 2x squared minus 24x minus 79. All right, and then number 25 just requires pretty minimal rearrangement to get into standard form. So I think we'll move on. Describe the end behavior of each function. All you need is to remember this handy table. We need the sign of the leading coefficient and whether or not the biggest exponent is even or odd. All right, so the sign tells you how it's going to end. If it's positive, it's going to end up. If it's negative, it's going to end down. Whether it's even or odd will tell you if it's going to match. If it's even, it's going to be up, up, or down, down, because they are going to match. If it's odd, it's going to be down, up, or up, down. So let's look at this one. It's a positive leading coefficient, and it's even. This is up, up. Positive and odd, positive, odd. This is down, up. Negative and even. This is down, down. And negative and odd, this is up, down. All right, solving with the quadratic formula. You should try and memorize this, but if you forget, you can ask me on the test. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let's do it with 31 here. So the a value is 1. The b value is negative 8, and the c value is negative 30. We're just getting those directly from the coefficients of this quadratic. And I'm going to try to do a little bit in my head. So negative b is negative 8, just becomes a positive 8. Plus or minus the square root. B squared, so negative 8 squared is 64. Minus 4 times 1 times negative 30. All over 2a, so 2 times 1 is just a 2. All right, so 4 times 1 times negative 30 is negative 120. Then this minus a negative 120 becomes a plus 120. So this becomes 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 plus 120 all over 2. And then that becomes 8 plus or minus the square root of 184 all over 2. But don't worry about simplifying that. You won't have to simplify it on the test. All right, determine if d of x is a factor of f of x. So one thing is we want the root, not the factor, when we do synthetic division. So we want to test x equals positive 1 here. You always flip the sign on that. Over here, we're going to test x equals positive 6. Let's just do 32 because we did 33 in class. This is 9, negative 6, negative 3 are the coefficients. We put a 1 out here, and then we test using synthetic division. We're hoping for a 0. So we drop down the 9, multiply by the 1, this becomes a 9. Add the column, this is a 3. Multiply, this is a 3. Add the column, 0. So this one is a yes. All right, we can do 33. It'll just take a second. So 3, negative 23, 29, 2, 24. We're testing 6, so we drop the 3, 18, negative 5, negative 30, negative 1, negative 6, negative 4, negative 24, 0. This one was also a yes. All right, when multiplying with I, just have to remember this one handy fact that I squared equals negative 1. So anytime we get an I squared, you just replace with a negative 1. Let's do 35 because the numbers are a little bit bigger. Let's just FOIL and see what happens. So we get 9 plus 6I plus 15I plus 10I squared, but that I squared is a negative 1, so this becomes a minus 10. All right, bring the real parts to the front. So this is negative 1 plus 21I. I always goes to the end like that. All right, now we're on to sequences in series. So we'll take another break here, split this into the next part.